Okay, guys, welcome back. I apologize for the issue we had there with the audio on my end. So Christina couldn't hear me. The studio couldn't hear me. We adjusted some things. We ran the bottom of the hour commercial break now, and I think we'll just skip the bottom of this regularly scheduled commercial break and only have one more towards the end of the program. Christina, welcome to the program. Let's get you on here right away and start chatting here. You can hear me now, okay?
Yep, I hear you fine.
All right. Are you excited to come over to be part of the Wide Awake News team?
Yes, I'm very excited.
We're excited to have you. I'm glad Karen Tostado put all that together. She's been working like a mad woman, trying to make sure that there's not one rebroadcast ever on Wide Awake News, and she's bringing in a lot of great people. And you, Deborah Tavares, Diane Everett-Snyder, and Karen, you know, it really does round out, I think, the broadcast and the programming on Wide Awake News, get a lot of different points of view, and importantly, that we have a balance now between testosterone and estrogen, so it's going to work out good.
Well, I'm very excited to work with those ladies too, and Karen and I have worked together before on United We Strike, yep, and on Wide Awake News. And so, she took a little break and I took a little break, and now, we're back full force, and there's no time like the present because, boy, there's a lot going on.
There is a lot going on, and I'm glad you guys are back. I knew Karen was going to be back. I knew you'd be back too, but, Karen's kind of like me, sometimes she wants to step back, but there's going to be no putting out, the fire that she has to do what she does. And I know that's the same for you as well. You had asked me during the break how I'm feeling, because I think the last time that we spoke, how long? It's been quite a while. Even though we're boyfriend and girlfriend, we don't talk that much.
Well, last week your tooth pulling thing.
Oh, that's right.
How did you recover from that? Because that's a major. I had the same thing done a year ago, and it was pretty horrific to recover from. I was really surprised how painful it was. Yeah. And how much swelling there was, and
painful and swelling. That's my middle name, and that's exactly what it was all about. It was lucky because it was $2,500 to have what the plan originally was. I have an excellent dentist, by the way, and this, let me explain how. I mean, typically, for what was wrong with my tooth, it was a molar right in front of my last wisdom tooth. And it had a cavity in it, and he was going to save it and do a root canal and then put a cap on it. And, I asked him point blank, is this worth it? And he goes, yeah, that tooth, your teeth are really even, and you use that. It's obvious by the wear on it that you use it. It's not a tooth that that you can just let go. So if we can save it, we should save it. And, it was $2,500 total for the root canal and a gold cap to put on there. And, I have insurance, which is nice, but still there's a big outlay of money there. And then when we started digging into it, he said, well, he capped it up and he said, well, we're not saving this tooth because it was too far gone. What's nice about my dentist is most dentists you go to now they're really specialized. It's like doctors in general, right? They used to be, you go see the family doctor and he can handle just about anything up to a surgery. And he's going to take care of you. Well, now that's like, oh, I don't do this or I don't do that. You have to go see this specialist. And every time you go, if somebody puts a specialist behind their name, it's ridiculously expensive. So usually for an extraction of a tooth, they're going to send you to an oral surgeon. But my doctor or my dentist is so cool. He's just like, hey, you know what? I'll pull that out for you. So instead of a $2,500 bill for a root canal and a cap, it ended up being $300 to remove my wisdom tooth and this tooth. But you're right. It didn't hurt when it was going on, obviously, but afterward, it's pretty gruesome. I mean, it hurts for quite some time. It's been a week and it's still, a big open gaping hole that hurts.
I thought the whole thing was fairly traumatizing.
Are you okay?
Are
you okay, kids. Pumpkin? I mean, we don't have to talk about this if it's hurting you.
No, it was kind of, it was one of those things that had been coming on for a couple of days when it happened to me. Yeah. And you always think, well, let me try to fix this myself. Yep. And then it got really bad on a day that I had to broadcast. And so I filled a glass with vodka, and I was swishing vodka around in my mouth during the breaks.
To numb it,
or the pain, and then afterward, like we went right there. And as soon as they did X-rays, they were like, "You have to go to an oral surgeon." I had pneumonia going on, and the tooth thing.
Yeah.
And then the weird thing is too, they gave me Percocet, and I don't like pain pills, but I really needed them.
Right.
And within like 3 or 4 days of taking the Percocet, I could feel that I was getting hooked on them already, because when I didn't take them, my whole body hurt. Like I felt like I got hit by a truck, and I'm like, wow, I forgot like how addictive this kind of medication is. Have you
had experience with opiates in the past, or?
Yeah, when I had a back injury,
right. I knew you'd had that wreck, and you were in a lot of you told us before you had been pretty beat up in a wreck, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, and I had an accident at work that caused a spinal cord injury. Ugh. And so, I was going and I was getting epidurals, and they were shooting like steroids up and down my spine all the time. And then I was on pain pills and sleeping pills. And then, you get stomach problems and all these other things start coming out because of all the medication you're taking. And I think the most I was on at one time was like 13 different meds.
Wow.
And it was crazy. Like I couldn't even have a conversation with people. It turned me into a complete zombie, but I had to be that way for that, during that time, because the back pain was so significant. Yeah. And now I just deal with it with cannabis, and I don't take pain pills unless I absolutely need them, but I needed them with the tooth thing for sure.
Is the cannabis, I mean, is it, you're smoking it? I mean, do they have medical use marijuana in your state, or?
Yeah, luckily we do. And I like to cook with it. I turn it into a butter, and then I use the butter in my food, like, on my rice or whatever. I even put the butter sometimes in tea. I know that sounds kind of gross, but it's really good. And you just get sick of smoking it all the time. And the smoking isn't good for you either.
Right.
Vaporizing is best. But I try to, I can like manage the dose more, because I don't want it to be so severe that I can't like concentrate. And there's kind of this fine line when you use it for pain management of managing the pain and then kind of overdoing it a little, where, you get really sleepy, and it puts your brain waves into a very relaxed state. So it does take a little bit of experimentation, and that's why doctors are so hesitant to prescribe it for people, even in states where it is available as a medicine, because it's so difficult to get the dosage right, and then people react to it in different ways.
Yeah, but I got to think that, and it's never been anything that I've really been into. I mean, I tried pot a couple times when I was, when I was a kid. I just never got into it. I mean, I was more of a mixed drink kind of guy, but, for recreation use anyway. But it certainly seems that the potential danger of dosage and getting the dose right and experimenting with that, it is far less dangerous than the opiates that you're talking about, because, man, there's a lot of people that just get, oxy or hydrocodone or, Percocet or even stronger ones. They get to the point where they can't function without them, and, it's a physical and a psychological addiction. And you just don't hear that kind of report from cannabis. Maybe I'm wrong, but
no, there's no danger in taking cannabis at all. No one's ever overdosed from it. I think the only death that's ever occurred was when a huge bale of it like fell on somebody that was moving it. I mean, it's just the worst thing that happens is like,
does it work for pain?
Bad watching Netflix all day. That's the worst side effect.
Does it help? Does it help? I've never spoke to anybody who's taken it for pain, and now I have. So does it work as well as some of the other pain pills you were on? Very much
so, and it also helps to kind of relieve some of the anxiety that you have when you have a chronic illness or a chronic back problem, because like if your pain starts to intensify, it makes you nervous, because you can't, if you don't get it under control right away, it's going to get a lot worse, and then it's more difficult to control. And so the cannabis kind of eases that anxiety too, until it kicks in in with the pain receptors. And we have these.
Go ahead.
receptors all over our body. They used to think we just had them in our brain that actually fit to the cannabis. I mean, it's a medicine that's actually made for us.
Okay.
And now they found that those endocannabinoid receptors exist in all of our organs. And so, you know, I mean, it makes sense really from science. It's absolutely ridiculous that it's illegal.
Yeah. Well,
and I used to think the only thing that was, you know, crazy and weird about our government is making that illegal before I started looking into all the other stuff going on. And, but yeah, cannabis is a big one. That was kind of my first foray into, you know, things that aren't right, things that don't make sense.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to tell you right now, Christina, I'm going to turn my camera off because it's screwing up our audio a little bit. So I'm just going to turn mine off. We're sitting here, Christina and I, being as our boyfriend girlfriend, we like to look at each other on camera while we're doing an interview. But I'm going to shut mine off because there, you shut yours off too. Okay. Because it does mess up with the feed sometimes. But yeah, you know, you talk about the anxiety aspect of it, and I know exactly what you're talking about because you know, as you know, and as you asked me about how my health is doing, it's great right now. But you know, these severe asthma attacks that you know, 2 of them have landed me inside of an ambulance going to the hospital. The anxiety that comes with that feeds into it. In my case, anyway, feeds into an asthma attack. It'll feed into it and make it far, far worse because you're trying everything you can to be calm, you know, and get your breathing back under control. But if you focus on, you know, how this attack's going and what the end could be, which is literally the end, it freaks you out. So, you know, I know there's a lot of people that use cannabis instead of like something like Xanax that you know is an anti-anxiety type of medication that works quickly, but they'll use cannabis instead because it has that calming effect. I thought about, you know, I don't drink, but I thought about having a bottle of gin laying around and just, you know, taking a few belts at the onset of an attack because relaxing or not giving into that anxiety is a big deal.
Well, you know, if that works for you, great. You know, I doubt your doctor would sanction that as a course of treatment, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't work. And if that works for you, then, you know, that's what you should do.
No doubt about it. I think Todd in the studio, I think, is going to skip this break that we usually have here in about a minute. So we'll just we'll go on to the 3/4 after break. Let's get into your program a little bit. It starts a week from this Friday. What are we going to cover?